Deliverable 6, Presenting a Forecasting System by Tina Brodbeck, Rasmussen College. Part 1, I will be discussing strategic forecasting and production. Strategic forecasting and production. Forecasting definition is the process of predicting future events that affect underlying business processes like production, inventory, and facilities. What forecasting is used to accomplish for production: predictions, demands for new and existing products, results for new product research, projecting quality improvements, anticipation of consumer needs, cost of new materials, decisions for product portfolio, predicting new facility locations, anticipating capacity requirements, identifying labor needs, projection of material needs, creating production schedules, creation of maintenance schedules. Cobb 2018, slides 17 and 18. When forecasting, think of the 7 essential elements of forecast. Demand forecast accuracy, using different forecasting tools to accurately guess what the consumer demand will be for various products. Lead time forecast, determining how long it takes for vendor orders to be received. This is vital to being able to establish a warning number for low inventory to make managers or purchasers aware inventory being low enough to reorder. Order cycle optimization, by measuring the cost of carrying inventory against the cost of acquiring inventory. A company can determine the amount of inventory they should carry between orders. Service level accuracy, determining the level of in-stock performance the company desires for each of their SKUs to achieve. Replenishment planning, create the basic orders to cover base demand and achieve the company's SKUs or service level goals for specific locations. Special order considerations, deciding what the appropriate amount of ordering quantities that will cover an uplift in demand due to promotions or other events that shape consumer demand. The other factors that can increase the amount of ordering of supplies like raw materials, and they are forward buying or other profit-generating purchasing opportunities. Order validity assurance, ensure that the orders are rounded in the accommodation of SKUs rounding requirements. Structures are created to meet supplier and logistics constraints. Assure inventory is positioned properly for product availability of future orders. Assurance. Blue Ridge 2015, page 3. 2 types of forecasting methods. There's the qualitative, reliant on subjective opinions from one or more experts. Types of qualitative forecast. Grassroots, asking the person or people closest to the consumer for information can aid in deriving the future demand for a product. Market research, trying to identify consumer habits or new product ideas through the use of consumer surveys or watching the stock market for new trends. Panel consensus, these are a broad group of experts enlisted by a company for the general area to aid in future demand estimations. Historical analogy, drawing comparisons from demand estimations from identifying a similar company. And then there's the Delphi method. This is the same as panel consensus, except the participants are hidden identities. The other type of forecasting method is quantitative. Uses statistical and analytical data. Qualitative forecasts do not use data. No time to create a forecast, often used in practice. Use market surveys reliant on expert opinions and are more suited for long-term objectives. Cobb 2018, slide 9 through 3. Now, the different types of quantitative forecast. Time series method, models that are used to predict the future demand from past history trends. Time series can be broken down into trends, seasonality, cycles, or random variations. Trends are the gradual movements, either up or down, of data over time affected by cultural views, current incomes, population, or age distribution. Seasonality is a pattern of data that shifts either by day, weekly, monthly, or quarters, like people are less likely to buy snowblowers in the middle of summer. Occurring every several years, these data patterns are business cycles that can be affected by political problems and even government turmoil. Random variations are unexpected events that can have a significant impact on forecasts. Heiser J. 2017, page 113. Causal relationship methods, models that can make use of the statistical techniques that aid in establishing relationships between different items and demands. Cobb 2018, slides 9 through 13. Then there's the simulation models that inject some randomness and nonlinear effects into an equation to calculate demand for some products. Quantitative methods are reliant on the collection of relevant or clean data, the building of and evaluating of models, forecasting and tracking the forecast. Cobb 2018, slide 9 through 13. The 6 steps in the forecasting process. You have determine the purpose of the forecast. Establish the time horizon. Obtain, clean, and analyze data. Select forecasting technique. Make the forecast. Monitor the forecast. Determine the purpose of the forecast. How will it be used in the time frame that it is needed? Thinking in regards to production forecasting and basing the results off of consumer demand. Then the results of the forecast have significant impacts on labor planning, inventory storage requirements, or ordering, and if we have the facilities capable of handling the inventory and production capacities. Quizlet, no date overview. Establish a time horizon. Based on the needs of the production part of the company and what the forecast is looking to achieve, there are 3 different time ranges that could be applicable to the production forecast. Quizlet, no date overview. The time horizons, you have short-range forecasting is normally within a 3-month time span, but no longer than a year. When considering short-range forecasting, things to take into consideration would be planning purchases, scheduling of various jobs, workforce levels, job assignments, and what the needed production levels are. Heiser J. 2017, page 108, paragraphs 8 through 11. Then you have the medium range forecasting is normally within a time span of 3 months to 3 years. Sales planning, production planning, and budgeting, cash budgeting, and analyzing different operation plans can be accomplished from data obtained from this range of forecasting. Heiser J. 2017, page 108, paragraphs 8 through 11. Long range forecasting is normally 3+ years. This time span for forecasting is normally used when developing new products, capital expenditures, facility locations or expansion, and research and development. Heiser J. 2017, page 108. Select forecasting technique. When trying to estimate the levels of production needed to meet customer demand based off production times, lead time forecasts, and the amount of raw materials needed to create the specific products, and what raw materials need to be left in storage to cover the production process, etc. It will take a combination of more than one forecasting technique. Quizlet, no date overview. Make the forecast. Monitor the forecast. Once the forecast has been implemented, there will be calculations to see what the results of the actual sold products to the estimation. Evaluating if the difference within the manageable zone or if there needs to be a corrective measures taken. And when calculating the results, using a smoothing constant variable to aid in having a more accurate forecast. Quizlet, no date overview. Production planning forecasting process. The steps involved. Selection of the forecasting method for production planning. The selection of the forecasting method needs to be able to closely predict the forecast to meet the needs of what is the goals for production planning. The different methods used when forecasting for production planning are moving average and exponential smoothing. and regression analysis. The moving average is used to take a specific time frame from production averages, looking for changes between specific production period averages against how that average has changed. Lorette K. Note 8, paragraph 2. Exponential smoothing weighs the average of the most recent forecast against the current demand for the product. Regression analysis is a chart used to view the moving average as a single line of change over time. Lorette K. Note 8, paragraph 3. Determine the time period. When using forecasting to determine what needs to be done for production planning, the most effective time horizon is short-range forecasting. Customer trends or product demands change over time. But when a company is trying to decide how to plan productions for a specific time frame for the completion of a forecasted product amounts, they want the most accurate predictions. The reason that short-range forecasting will be more accurately suit the needs of the requirements for forecasting is that normally a time period used either quarterly or biannually to changes in production needs period by period. Lorette K. Note 8, paragraph 4. The third step, select specific reports needed for accurate forecasting. The historical production reports for specific time periods to measure against the forecast will aid in production planning. The studying of historical production levels will be able to show whether production levels increase or decrease with specific seasons based on customer demand. And then we can apply these measures to the forecast method. Lorette K. Note 8, paragraph 5. Step 4. Pick market trends to apply to forecasting tool. A company forecast that uses the market trends to determine whether customer demand will decrease or increase will be able to match the decreasing or increasing customer demand for products being produced. Lorette K. Note 8, paragraph 6. Part 2. Limitations of forecasting on labor models. Forecasting facts. Main assumption is history repeats itself. Like past patterns tend to repeat themselves in the future. Forecasting isn't a perfect science, and it is an estimate. Errors are not able to be erased with forecasting, but can be used when comparing actual results to forecasted ones. Forecasting accuracy tends to be more accurate the shorter the time horizon, and with a group of products rather than individual products. Computer and IT are critical components used by large corporations for forecasting. Cobb 2018, slide 7. Forecasting limitations specific to labor models. Human resources planning, capacity planning, supply chain management functions are based off of anticipated demand. Human resource departments hire or lays off employees based on the results of what is the anticipated demands of consumers for the company's products. An example would be the forecast inaccurately determined the amount of demand for the company's product, hitting way below the actual demand. The HR department has to hire a large amount of new employees to handle the increase of product demand with short notice. With this happening, the amount of training is severely shortened, causing poor quality products produced, losing customers for the company. Capacity would come into play when the budgeted amount of inventory in stock and safety stock is inadequate to cover the amount of products to produce to meet consumer demand, leaving our product being out of stock, and costs raise for an expedited order of raw materials necessary to cover production processes. Heiser 2017, pages 10. The reverse scenario would be the forecasted demand is off by a large margin from the actual demand, with the results being in the negative. The negative amount will have a direct impact on inventory capacity for both raw materials and products stored piling up. because not enough consumers are purchasing the products to meet the forecasted demand. The backup of raw materials and product causes an increase in storage costs. The company will not have the capital expected to cover the costs of the anticipated demand. Thus, this could lead to the company's HR department having to lay off employees, increasing the amount of money to pay for employee unemployment costs. Heiser 2017, pages 10. Part 3, the features of job planning and the impact of forecasting. How forecasting determines production planning features. After forecasted consumer demand is completed, there are things that need to be considered before planning production. What is the factory capacity? What are the aggregate inventory levels? What is the size of the workforce? The manager then needs to decide what the optimal production level is to operate. Unknown author of no date, pages 110 through 111. Active planning based off forecasted consumer demand. Process planning and routing. Material planning, tools planning, loading, and scheduling. Unknown author, no date, pages 110 through 111. Process planning and routing. The complete decisions of the specific technological process steps and their sequences used to produce products matching the company's determined levels of quality, quantity, and costs. The forecast is used as a tool to aid in creating a budget for production. It determines the method used for manufacturing products by selecting the necessary tools and equipment while analyzing how these best fit into the facility. Unknown author, no date, pages 110 through 111. Routing is how the flow of work is determined using considerations for layout, where raw materials are stored, and component and material handling systems. Unknown author, no date, pages 110 through 111. Material planning. This is where lead time forecasting and order cycle optimization come into active planning for production. Based on the level of product lines that need to be created to match consumer demand based off the results of the forecast, a manager will need to assess the appropriate levels of raw material inventories to keep in stock to meet production demands while also knowing the ordering and delivery times for raw materials vendors. Costs that a manager needs to consider for raw material inventories and assess how best to approach them are carrying costs, ordering costs, shortages costs, and etc. Unknown author, no date, pages 110 through 111. Tools planning. Determining the specifications for various tools to meet requirements, material specifications, and equipment specifications, including speed, feed range, etc. Unknown author, no date, pages 110 through 111. Loading. This is the phase of assigning jobs to several machines, ensuring there is a load balance among various machines. Unknown author, no date, pages 110 through 111. And then you have scheduling. Time phase of loading, where the sequence of work will be determined, like when and in what sequence. This is also where the production manager will assess specific training and skills necessary to complete a product. Deciding whether they have the time availability to properly train new employees and budget for paying more for skilled workers. Based off the forecast for consumer demand, increase or decrease could determine whether a manager will need to lay off or hire more personnel, with maintaining a level of employees to still ensure that the products the company is producing are still meeting the company's quality requirements. Unknown author, no date, pages 110 through 111. Control phase has 2 reports. Progress reports are the data collection for what is happening for specific production jobs. Aids in being able to make comparisons includes problems. You got material rejections, process variations, equipment failures, operator absentees, and then there's the second report, which is the corrective action. These are the tasks that are used to correct unexpected events. Unknown author, no date, pages 112. Progress reports are used to create variance analysis to aid in making corrective actions. Corrective actions include but are not limited to creating schedule flexibility, schedule modifications, capacity modifications, make or buy decisions, expediting work, maintenance for malfunctioning machinery or equipment. Unknown author, no date, pages 112. And then these are the references I used where I found the information. Blue Ridge Cloud Native Supply Chain, the 7 essential elements of demand forecasting, planning, and replenishment, retrieved from the link below. I used the live lecture PowerPoint presentation by Ashley Cobb, provided from the link below. And then the course edition book for Heiser J Operations Management, 12th edition, Ambassador Vital Source, retrieved from that link. Lorette K, no date, forecasting tools used for production planning, retrieved from the link below. Quizlet, retrieved from the link below. And then the unknown author, no date, was Chapter 5, Production Planning and Control, retrieved from the link below.